From a densely built 16-acre island off the coast of Japan to a secret location you probably don't know exists less than a mile away from New York City, here are 5 incredible, creepy, and massive abandoned islands. Not too far from the coast of the Japanese city of Nagasaki lies a mysterious place called Hashima Island. Life here was once bursting with commerce and activity, but as of late, it's anything but. The island's history dates back all the way to the early 1900s. During that time, coal was discovered under the East China Sea, so Hashima Island was used as a sort of operation post. The mining grew so rapidly that nearly every inch of land was used for some purpose. But mostly, it was used as a foundation to construct homes for workers, a hospital, stores, restaurants, a gym, and even a swimming pool. Before they knew it, this small 16-acre island had become the most densely populated place on Earth. As you can imagine, the quality of life suffered quite a bit. Workers were forced to mine many hours of the day, often in dangerous conditions, leading to many injuries and even deaths. By the mid-70s, coal started to become much less abundant. Eventually, the mine was empty. Workers started to move away with their families, until eventually, the island was virtually empty. Many of the buildings still had their fixtures, appliances, and decorations in them, looking as though some post-apocalyptic event had occurred. Today, tourists can visit the island, seeing exactly how crowded things were. Many parts of the island remain weathered and unstable. Other parts have been completely claimed by plants and animals and are not suitable for a visit. Who knows what the future holds for this unique community, but as of now, it's nothing but a shell of its former self. Of all the theme parks on Earth, Disney World in Florida is without a doubt the most popular. Tens of millions of people visit each year from all over the world, making it an iconic destination in American culture. Over the years, the park has expanded to include new attractions, but there have been various places built that did not exactly become as popular as their developers had hoped. A few of them have even become places of mystery as the park keeps them concealed from the public. Just outside of Disney's Animal Kingdom sits a place called Discovery Island. It opened in 1974 and was operational until 1999. The issue was that the island was never a huge draw and was only marginally popular at best. Disney ended up closing Discover Island in 1999, leaving it all to wither away with the passage of time. Today, the island is completely closed off to the public, and traveling to it will earn you a permanent ban from the property. Still, that hasn't stopped people from trying and even succeeding at exploring the mysterious land. What they have found are many crumbling structures and enclosures that used to hold various animals. Some have been caught, but others haven't. Regardless, it does offer us a glimpse into some of Disney's lesser-known failures. When you think of New York City, an abandoned island just off its shores is probably not what comes to mind. But within the East River, right between the Bronx and Rikers, exists such a place, North Brother Island. A nearby island was first inhabited by the Dutch West India Company in 1614. It served as an outpost until the British took it over around 1695. North Brother Island actually remained uninhabited until around 1885, when the Riverside Hospital moved there, relocating from its previous location on Blackwell's Island. It was meant to be the catch-all for patients suffering from smallpox. The mission eventually expanded to be a quarantine point for a number of other diseases, such as tuberculosis, polio, and typhoid. Later on, during World War II, the island housed war veterans who were students at local colleges, along with their families. But after a couple of decades, everyone moved on from the island and it became uninhabited, being left to ruin and be claimed by nature. Most of the original 25 buildings still stand in various states of extreme dilapidation. Therefore, visits to the island are strictly forbidden unless they are for compelling academic and scientific purposes. In recent years, there have been a few camera and news crews that have been given permission to visit and document the island. The reports have shown that even though the island has an eerie yet beautiful atmosphere, the buildings are very dangerous and should not be wandered into. The possibility of collapse is all too real. It's quite odd that an island this close to New York City has remained in such a state. Surely it's quite an expensive and sought-after piece of land. Who knows what the future holds, but for now, no plans have been made to develop it. In the northern part of Sudan lies a place known as Swakin Island. It was a strategically crucial point for many powerful empires. Initially, Ramses III developed this area during the 10th century BC. At the time, Swakin was pretty much the gateway to the Red Sea, the place for exploration and trade. Over the years, it continued to evolve as various kingdoms and empires conquered the area and added their own cultural influences. The last time it evolved was during the 19th century, when the area became a huge hub for the slave trade in Eastern Africa. Each year, tens of thousands of slaves left the port, bound for various parts of the world. As time ticked on, the slave trade shrunk and the port became increasingly unnecessary. By the 1920s, the island had fallen into complete disrepair. Shallow waters had started encroaching on the shores, bringing a very weathered look to the landscape. Today, the ruins stand as a reminder of the terrible part it played in world history, as well as the amazing parts it played in ancient commerce. Visitors can see the remains of the structures that once used to stand on the island. What was once an important piece of land for many nations throughout the world now sits in utter ruin. If we travel a few hundred miles off the coast of India, we'll find a tiny speck of land known as Ross Island. With a total area of less than 1/3 of a square mile, Ross Island is only one of 572 that make up the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. At one point in history, the British owned these islands and made them a home for thousands of convicts and various political prisoners. However, things took an extremely deadly turn in 1941 when a large earthquake struck the area and killed thousands of the island's residents. Eventually, military conflict came to the island, and Japan ended up seizing control. It was meant to be a strategically located safe zone for troops and ships during World War II. Bunkers were built to protect the soldiers and house them for a short period of time. But after a while, the war ended and things started settling down. So the Japanese eventually left and gave control of the islands back to the Indian government. However, the marks of the British and the Japanese were left and can be seen to this day. Now that the island is in the hands of the Indian Navy, it has been completely overgrown with jungle vines. The thousands of people that used to populate this island are nothing more than memories and ghosts. For those who are able to get on shore, remnants of the jails that used to hold prisoners are still able to be seen. The cells were particularly uncomfortable for those unlucky enough to call this place home. As they were usually ridden with disease and pests, the mortality rate was quite high. Even some of the old Japanese bunkers still remain, along with a church, but it has all been overgrown with the jungle vines and weeds. Tourists are able to visit Ross Island and even find a few places to shop and grab something to eat, if that's something that interests you. To see more videos just like this one, be sure to click the link on screen now. With that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.